Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take materials you're interested in, maybe articles, research, or like today, a really insightful YouTube transcript, and we pull out the key stuff.
Yeah, the goal is basically to get you up to speed, make you feel well informed without you having to wade through everything yourself.
Exactly. And today's deep dive, we're looking into something pretty significant. The actual experience, the realities of living alone when you're older.
We're using a transcript from a YouTube video called Hidden Realities of Living Alone as an Older Person. That's our main source for today's discussion.
Right. And we thought to make this really hit home, we'd structure it a bit differently. Think of it like a story framework.
Oh,
So you, the listener, you're the main character here. Maybe you're living alone now, or perhaps you're just thinking about it for the future.
got it. So the listener is the character.
Precisely. And the information we got from this transcript, that's like our guide. It's packed with wisdom, different perspectives on navigating this.
Okay, so the source is the guide offering advice.
Exactly. Our mission today is to unpack these hidden realities, figure out the specific challenges people face, and then look at the practical strategies the guide offers, so you feel more prepared.
Sounds good. So starting with the character you, the listener. Often there's this picture painted of living alone later in life as, well, peaceful, empowering.
Totally. That idea of independence, doing your own thing, it's appealing. Right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But, as the title Hidden Reality suggests, there's often another side to it.
Yeah. Things that maybe aren't so obvious at first glance. And that's what we want to get into, the less discussed parts.
Because knowing the whole picture, the good and the challenging bits, that's what really prepares you. Avoids feeling, blindsided later on.
Exactly. So let's talk about the problem element in our story framework. What are the challenges you might face?
Well, the source material sort of breaks them down into, let's say, external, internal, and even philosophical difficulties.
Okay, like practical stuff, emotional stuff, and bigger picture stuff.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Let's start with the external, the practical. One big one that comes up is realizing you are your own emergency backup.
Ooh, yeah. That hits differently when you think about it. There's no one else just there if something goes wrong suddenly.
Right. And the transcript, it doesn't shy away from this. It shares some quite sobering stories, people having falls, medical issues, and not being found for hours, sometimes days.
Wow. That really drives the point home, the potential vulnerability there.
It does. And it's not just major emergencies either. There was this comment mentioned, I think, from a Reddit user.
Oh, yeah.
Someone saying they carry their phone everywhere, even in the shower, just in case.
That little detail says so much, doesn't it? That constant low-level awareness that you're the only one responsible right then and there. That's a key external challenge.
Exactly. That reliance on yourself in potentially critical moments. Okay, so moving inwards, what are the internal challenges? Loneliness comes up frequently.
Right, and loneliness is tricky. The video mentions this idea that, well, if you're an introvert, living alone is perfect.
Yeah.
But it suggests it's not always that simple.
It's not, because even if you enjoy your own company, your social world can change as you age. That's almost inevitable.
How so?
Well, friends might move away, people retire and their routines shift, or, sadly you lose people. Your circle naturally contracts sometimes.
That makes sense, even for someone happy with solitude.
And there was this comment shared from an older gentleman. It was quite moving. He talked about sometimes going days without a real conversation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He valued his independence, but he missed just the casual stuff, chatting about the news, small interactions.
So loneliness isn't just being physically by yourself, it's lacking that regular connection.
Precisely. It's those small, everyday exchanges that add up. Okay, so the third type of difficulty we mentioned, the philosophical one. The transcript frames this around home maintenance becoming overwhelming.
Ah, yes. I think a lot of people can relate to that one, living alone or not. Things just get harder physically as you get older.
You do. Tasks that used to be nothing become exhausting. And it's not just the physical effort, it's also knowing it all falls on you. Every single bit of upkeep.
That weight of responsibility.
Exactly. The source mentioned someone who really cared about their home, had a list of things they wanted to do, but just kept putting it off.
Why? Just too much.
Yeah, it wasn't lack of wanting to, it was just feeling completely swamped by it all. The effort needed felt insurmountable. It speaks to a kind of deeper fatigue, mental and physical.
Okay, so those are some significant problems. Being your own safety net, potential loneliness, and feeling overwhelmed by home stuff. Big hurdles. So where's the guide in all this? Where does the help come from?
The guide is the source material itself. the collective wisdom shared in that YouTube transcript. It's not just one opinion.
Right. It's pulling from lots of different experiences, people who've actually lived it.
Exactly. Which makes the advice feel very grounded,
Mm.
very real.
So what's the plan then? What solutions or strategies does this guide offer based on those problems?
Okay, so for the first problem being your own emergency backup, the big message is think ahead about safety. Be proactive.
Like how?
Well, it mentions things like considering a smartwatch with fall detection, or maybe a medical alert system, especially if you're quite isolated.
Practical tech solutions.
And yeah, and there was that simple low-tech example too, the person who installed an emergency key lockbox outside.
Oh, right. So trusted people can get in if needed without breaking down the door. Smart.
Very smart. Just simple things that reduce risk and increase peace of mind.
Hmm.
Now, for loneliness,
Mm.
the guide had some really heartwarming suggestions.
Did it? Like what?
Adopting a pet was a big one.
Ah, yes. I remember the quote. Something like, my cat isn't a conversationalist, but just knowing he's there.
Makes a huge difference.
Exactly. That companionship, even nonverbal, can be incredibly powerful.
A pet brings routine too, responsibility. All things that combat isolation.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then for the home maintenance overwhelm, the advice was pretty straightforward.
Don't try to do it all yourself.
Basically, yeah, get help. Hire people for the heavy stuff, gutters, yard work, whatever feels too much. Or, ask family or friends for a hand sometime.
Makes sense. Swallow the pride a bit, maybe.
And also, consider downsizing. If a big house is just too much upkeep, maybe a smaller place is the answer. Less space, less work. Frees up energy.
Okay, so those directly address the main problems. Did the source offer other helpful tips for living alone well?
Oh, absolutely. Lots of other practical wisdom came through, like the importance of daily routines.
Adaptability.
Exactly. That morning coffee and afternoon walk, whatever it is,
Yeah.
those little rituals provide structure. It also talked about cooking for one.
Which can feel like a chore, right?
It can. So suggestions included batch cooking, freezing meals, or even reframing it, thinking of cooking as an act of self-care, not just sustenance.
I like that. What else?
Addressing the silence. If it bothers you, put on the radio, listen to podcasts, just have some background sound.
Simple, but probably effective for some.
And a big emphasis on physical activity. Intentionally moving your body. Setting goals, maybe joining a class, getting a dog for walks.
Keeps you healthy, gets you out.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Also things like creating your own rhythms and schedules to manage time, tackling clutter, but starting small, acknowledging it can be emotional.
Yeah, decluttering is rarely just about stuff.
True. And being proactive socially. Don't just wait for invites, reach out, start a group, invite friends over.
Take an initiative.
And underpinning it all really was prioritizing self-care. Looking after yourself, grooming, eating well, finding rituals that support your mental health.
Okay, so lots of practical strategies there. What's the call to action then, implicitly?
It feels like an invitation, really, for you, the listener, to take all this on board, to think proactively about your own situation or future situation.
Start planning, basically. Consider these things now. And the stakes, what happens if you don't address these things? The transcript didn't spell it out, maybe, but we can see the risks.
Oh,
Right?
for sure. The potential downsides are clear. Being caught unprepared in an emergency, deepening loneliness, maybe physical health declining from inactivity, feeling constantly stressed by your home.
Yeah, not a great picture.
No.
Yeah.
But let's flip that. What about success? What does life look like if you do absorb this wisdom, if you apply these strategies?
Well, I imagine feeling much more prepared, more confident, less anxiety about the what ifs.
Definitely. That sense of empowerment and potentially stronger social connections
Mm.
because you're being intentional about nurturing them, less isolation.
And maybe a home environment that feels good, manageable, enjoyable, rather than like a burden.
Right, a more peaceful space. And overall, it points towards just greater self-awareness, taking active steps for your own well-being.
Having more control over your life.
Exactly. So living alone isn't just about coping with challenges. It becomes an opportunity to consciously create the life you want, using that freedom and independence wisely. It's framed as a precious freedom in the source.
That's a powerful way to look at it. So wrapping up this deep dive, it seems understanding these hidden realities is really valuable for anyone living alone as they get older, or even just thinking about it.
Absolutely. Gives you a much fuller picture.
So maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to take away. Which of these ideas, these challenges or solutions resonated most with you?
Yeah, and maybe think about how you could proactively shape your own experience of living alone, aiming for more fulfillment, more peace of mind. It's definitely worth some reflection.